Let us start. I think I don't have. You can see. This is not updated. I couldn't update today, so today's session 3. I'm just borrowing the slide. I'll start the class. Sadashiva-samarambham Shankaracharya-madhyamam Asmadacharya-paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam. Shruti Smriti Purananam Alayam Karunalayam Namami Bhagavatpada Shankaram Lokashankaram Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Badarayanam Sutra Bhashya Kritau Vande Bhagavantau Punah Punaha. Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu Ma Vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. So I'll just chant first so that we remember the tune, and then someone can chant for practice a little bit, and then we'll move on to the third verse in chanting, and then we'll come back to the explanation of the previous verses. Okay, so why this keeps coming back. Okay. Can we see? Bhaja Govindam, Bhaja Govindam, Govindam, Bhaja Mudhamate. Samprapte sannihite kale, nahi nahi rakshati dukrinkarane. Mudhajahi dhanagama trishnam Kuru sadbuddhim manasi vitrishnam Yallabhase nija karmopatam Vittam tena vinodaya chittam. So someone wants to try the first two ones?
Ditiji, may I do it,
Yeah,
please?
yeah, yes.
Bhaj Govindam, Bhaj Govindam, Govindam Bhaj Samprapte Sannihite Kale, Nahi Nahi Rakshati Dukrinkarane, Moon Jali Dhanagamatna, Guru Sadbuddhim Manasi Vitrishna, Yallabhase Nij Karmopatam, Vittam Tena Vinodittam.
Very good. Yes. Anyone else? Did I
Can I
start?
try?
Did I start the recording?
Yes, there is the red dot in there.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Please do, Neetuji.
Bhaj Govindam, Bhaj Govindam, Govindam Bhaj Moodamate, Samprapte Sannihite Kale, Nahi Nahi Rakshati Dukrin Karane, Mood Jahi Dhanagam Trishnam, Kuru Sadbuddhim Manasi Pritishnaam, Yallabhase Nij Karmopatam, Nahi Vittam Tena Vinodaya Chittam.
Yes. Thank you. Anyone else?
May I?
Yes.
May I, Diptiji?
Yes. Yes.
Bhaja Govindam, Bhaja Govindam, Govindam Bhaja Mudamate, Samprapte Sannihite Kale, Nahi Nahi Rakshati Dukrinkarane, Mudajahi Ganagama Trishnam, Guru Sahat Buddhim Manasi Vitrishnam, Yallabhase Nijakarmopatam Vittam Tena Vinodaya Chittam.
Very good. Yes. One more person wants to try. If you want me to first chant and then you want to practice after, that's also fine. You can say that. So I'll do one line, then you can follow. If you're absolutely unfamiliar, that way you'll develop a familiarity. Okay. So let's move on to the third verse for practice. नारीस्तनभरनाभिदेशं दृष्ट्वा मागामोहावेशम् एतन्मां सवसादिविकारं मनसि विचिन्तय वारं वारम् नारीस्तनभरनाभिदेशं दृष्ट्वा मागामोहावेशम् एतन्मां सवसादिविकारं मनसि विचिन्तय वारं वारम्. Anyone?
Shall I try? नारीस्तन्भरनाभिदेशम् दृष्ट्वा मागामोहावेशम् एतन्मां सवसादिविकारं मनसि विचिन्तय वारं वारम्.
First line, repeat after me. नारीस्तनभरनाभिदेशम्.
नारीस्तन्भरनाभिदेशम्.
Stana, not stun.
Stana.
Huh.
Naristana
Na.
Bharana Videsham.
Okay. Nari stana bharanabhidesham.
Naristana Stana Bharana Videsham.
Yes, rest was all.
Okay.
Rest was good. Yeah.
Practice it.
Yeah. Anyone else?
Can I try, Deepti ji?
Yes.
Nari Tana Bharan Drishtva Maga Drishtva Maga Mohavesh Etanman Savasadi Vikaram Manasi Vichantayava Manasi Vichintayavaram Varam.
Yes, very good. Follow after me. Nari stana bharanabhidesham.
Nari Stana Bharanabhi
दृष्ट्वा मागामोहावेशम्
Drishtva Magamuhave
एतन्मां सवसादिविकारम्
Etanman Savasadi Vikaram
मनसि विचिन्तय वारं वारम्
Manasi Vichan how do you do that?
मनसि विचिन्तय.
Okay. Manasi Vichintaya Varam Varam.
Do it again. Last line.
Okay. Manasi Vichintaya Varam Varam.
Very good. Do the whole verse.
Naristana Bharanabhide Drishtva Maga Avesham Etanman Savasadi Vikaram Manasi Vichintaya Varam Varam.
Very good. Yes. Good. Good. So, anyone else wants to try, or we'll continue? Okay. So let's continue. We finished the first verse last time. Shankaracharya here is reminding us that all our acquisitions of topical knowledge, vyavharik gyan, subject related knowledge, subject related as in object related, vishayon ka gyan, which is only useful for having a comfortable life, and it will end with that. Such a knowledge is not looked down upon, but we are reminded to give it a real value and not give it an end value. An end value means I live my life only to acquire this knowledge, which will give me a better standard of life and more comforts in life. And that is my sole purpose of my education. That's the sole purpose of my wanting to learn any subject. Shankaracharya here, through the example of this old person who's at the fag end of his life and he's busy memorizing just a dhatu part, has no use at all. A dhatu part by itself is not a end knowledge. A dhatu part, when you learn, it means that you are learning it for a purpose. And that purpose is that the Shastra Gyan will unfold because it's all in Sanskrit. So you will be able to understand what is written in the words, for which grammar is a aid. But to take it as an end in itself, that will be an useless and a futile effort, reminding ourselves that at the antakal, at the last moment, any knowledge that is gained here with respect to the objective world, किसी के बारे में जब ज्ञान जाना जाता है, biology, chemistry, nuclear science, etc., whichever subject it be, when we antakal comes, when we are ready to give up the body, at that time, all this knowledge is not carrying forward, which means again in the next Janma, you're again starting A for apple, B for boy, kakha, gaga, etc. So that education, schooling, is a process of childhood learning that is not carried forward. But with the help of Vyakaranam, or any knowledge that you are putting an effort to gain, if you understand that this knowledge will help me towards knowing what is to carry with me, मेरे साथ क्या जाएगा, what is it when I give up this body? At this point, most of us are not even clear, where am I, who am I, is there a life after death, am I taking a rebirth, am I going into non-existence, am I shunyam? There are all kinds of ideas that float in the society. What happens to this breathing individual when this breathing individual discards the body and is no longer breathing? Pranaha vigataha. When this prana sanchar ends, तब क्या हो रहा है इस इंसान के साथ? कहाँ है ये इंसान जो अपने आप को आज इतना जोरों से मैं हूं करके असर्ट करता है? ये इंसान तब उसकी गति क्या है? So here in the first person he says, in the first verse he said, this kind of knowledge acquisition, if you have spent your life just doing this, and doing this means acquiring the knowledge which will only give a result in this life and it will exhaust itself. इस जन्म का कर्म, इस जन्म का एफर्ट मुझे इस जन्म में कुछ दृष्ट फल ला के देगा जरूर. It's not that if I become a educated person, it is completely useless. No, it is useful, but understand its value is only up to the point of this Sharira Yatra. Shastra is not saying do not get that knowledge, but do not take it as a end product. Do not take it as a complete in itself. This will not protect you when you are ready to move on. So, what will protect you? Instead, what is the purpose of this Vyakarna? Bhaja Govindam. Its purpose is to connect your own individual thinking, your individuality, connect it through vichar to what is in totality. I don't know what is in totality, but when I start the process, what is that which is the adhar of totality? What is the substratum of totality? When I start expanding my inquiry into figuring out what must there be, is there a real? Let's just start from basics. Is there something more real than what seems to the eye? What is that real? And that little effort to try and understand, it may not be at the first go, but when I try to keep understanding that Vyakarna, I'm connecting it to now the source. And that source, through Shastra Gyan, we know is Brahman, and Brahman in a Saguna form, here Shankara is putting it as Govinda. Govinda, who is the Adhar of Srishti, he's the he's the master of the earth. As we saw, one of the Vitpattis, he's the Lord of Earth. Where are you exactly existing now? On the planet. Who's the Lord of the planet? Why is the planet rotating or revolving in a particular speed at a particular inclination, because of which it maintains a particular distance from the sun, because of which it is neither too hot nor so cold, because of which there are monsoons and there are seasonal changes, and because of which at that right temperature, very essential, with the right humidity, very essential, all these factors which has allowed the first life of expression over here. Now we are all busy trying to find if there's life anywhere else in the galaxy. Shankara says, while you may do that, there is no problem with that. But will you also inquire? Can you also inquire? Can you also invest some thought, some energy of yours, some time of yours in knowing that is the law which governs the rotation and the revolution of the earth around the sun and the moon around the earth and every planet having, and when you look in the clear sky and you see the whole galaxy and stars and stars and stars, you can't count them, countless stars over there which your eyes can behold. Who's the Lord of it all? Who's the master creator? Where have they come from? You know, if you just say it is matter and it's fusion, where has matter come from? Where has the first creation emerged from? Where it is located, वो जो आधार है सृष्टि का, वो गोविंद वर्ड में है. That is Govind. And that Govind is in a Saguna form. You call it Narayan, you call it Vishnu, you call it Krishna, you call it any word. Here, of course, it means the ruler of this, and popularly it is associated with Krishna, which is Narayan himself. So he says, instead of just memorizing this dhatu part, shift your attention to developing a connection. अंदर बनाओ, एक कनेक्शन बनाओ. अपना कनेक्शन कैसे बनता है? अपने ही विचार से, अपने थॉट से अपने आप को जोड़ना पड़ता है. कहीं तो शुरुआत होती है. यू स्टार्ट समवेयर. Do not dismiss these as it is an inquiry for scientists. An inquiry for scientists will never give you a connection with the Lord of the earth. He's the Lord of the senses, another word for Govinda. What is making my eyes see? Has anybody ever inquired? I bring this so often because it's a topic of Kena Upanishad also. What makes my eyes see? You don't need anything else after that. This question is enough. It can keep us occupied for the rest of our life. We may still elude, the answer may still elude us. But in the attempt to know this, we may not recognize it that as if I've got the answer, but we will always be closer to the answer. When the answer manifests, Bhagwan Kripa. But at this point, Shankara says, manage your time. You know what we call in today's world time management? Time management, mind management, interest management. What time should I give to what activities of mine? How much time should I spend on this and spend on that? All that Shastra tells us is make sure while your breath is going on, make sure while you have pranas, make sure that you have invested some time in forming a connection with the master of creation, गोविंद के साथ. और वो गोविंद आपकी इंद्रियों को भी इनलिवन करता है. Today you may have to take these on Shraddha if you don't understand the whole prakriya as has been given in Vedanta. Vedanta makes us understand why we call Govind as the master of the senses. वो पूरा लंबा लंबा explanation आता है through texts like Tattvabodh, etc. Vivek Chudamani, many texts would explain. But that is an intellectual appreciation. Bhaj Govindam removes all this intellectuality. All it says is very simple. आपने अपना वक्त अपने ही सोर्स के साथ, where have I come from? Where have I emerged from? Have you invested some time over there in that direction? He says that will take you towards your better gati. वो आपकी रक्षा करेगा. That interest, that inclination, that investment of your time, that investment of your energy into knowing what you are, who you are, in whichever form you think your inquiry starts, if you invest it in those alaukik vishay, which is not going to give you just sharir yatra, it will be not helpful in sharir yatra. In fact, it's a claim. आपको शरीर यात्रा में शायद बिल्कुल भी कुछ नहीं मिले उससे, फिर भी he says it's a part of your own uh, anugraha. अपने ऊपर अनुग्रह करो. And when you start forming connections in the भाव, बनेगा, उत्पन्न होगा. जब आप सोचोगे तो जुड़ेगा. It's like saying, um, if you are a new mother, or if you are a new parent, why mother? If you are a new parent, before you became a parent, you don't know. There may just be a desire, I want to be a parent. Now, once you know that you are going to be a parent, what happens to your mind? किसके साथ जुड़ गया अब ये? पहले किसके साथ जुड़ा था वो? Even before you were married, supposing. You don't even know who is your partner in life. At that time, आपका मन किसके साथ जुड़ा है? किसी के साथ आपके विचार जुड़े रहते हैं ना? Some hope, some expectation, some desire, ऐसा होगा, ऐसा होना चाहिए, वैसा होना चाहिए, something. And then, yes, I have a partner. Now with the part, अब आपका मन जुड़ गया. Bhaja Govindam means what? आपने अपना मन जोड़ लिया. मन को जोड़ना है. Means just as my mind can flow towards my object of affection, towards my object of interest, naturally as it flows, in the same way, serve Govinda. Bhaj Govinda means develop a connection and then dedicate yourself in strengthening that connection. That is meant by serve Govinda. Serve Govinda means do everything as a service, in the sense that may this action that I do, may, even if I'm just doing a 9 to 5 job or 9 to 9 jobs, I don't think there are any 9 to 5 jobs anymore. 9 to 9 jobs, if I'm even doing a job, what am I doing that job for? If I'm doing it only because it will burn my fuel at home, it will help me sustain my family, if that is the only thing, then it is equivalent to dukre karne. It will be futile at the end. But if the same 9 to 9 job I am doing, yes, incidentally, I am getting something out of it which will help my run my family in a comfortable way. It is my duty. But may my actions be in such a way, even if they are a 9 to 9 corporate sector work, even that action can be service to Govinda, because I can convert my thinking in a way that my actions should be expression of glorifying what gives me this Shakti. I'll repeat this last sentence. कर्म करने की मेरी शक्ति कहाँ से आई? Am I the creator of that Shakti? मैंने उत्पन्न की है क्या? When I make a clay pot, I can say मैंने pot बनाया. मगर pot बनाने की शक्ति को क्या मैं कहूं कि मैंने बनाई? Can I say that? Yes. Yes. Can I say that?
Not at all. Not at all.
बस that शक्ति की ग्लोरिफिकेशन हो रही है मेरे कर्म के थ्रू. Even if it's a corporate work, the way I do my work, if my attention is that it's that Shakti whoever has given me the shakti, मुझे नहीं पता भगवान कौन है, ईश्वर, these are all at the end I realize they are shastra kalpitam to connect me to my own source. I use them. They bind me to what is my higher nature. Serve that so that when there is antakal, that done service, work done as service, would have brought in some adrishta phalam. I think everybody would know probably karmas have drishta phalam and adrishta phalam. Drishta phalam is जो हमें अभी इस जीवन में भोग के खत्म हो जाएगा. अदृष्ट फलम इज इन द फॉर्म ऑफ पुण्य एंड पाप. मीन्स जो अभी हमें दिख नहीं रहा अदृष्ट है उसका फल, मगर आगे कभी ना कभी दृष्ट हो जाएगा. इट कैन बी पुण्य और पाप. When I do a work as service, then it can only give me two results. Drishta phalam in the form of punyam, or if I mature myself further in my, as we do karma yoga and we learn more and more about it in the Gita, and we are able to modify ourselves even better at another more mature point within ourselves, we even give up the desires behind that action. And we just do the action because it's a service, it's what I can do. And those actions then bring back my purification. And that, he says, will be your protection. ऐसे गोविंद आपकी रक्षा करेगा. सिर्फ ये मानना कि that गोविंद as a form, कृष्णा, वो रक्षा करेगा, that's an initial, वो करेगा. That alone, that principle which is invisible to my eyes, I can make it into a form and worship it. And that Govind will also be representing that invisible form. Just as मेरे प्राण में आज मुझे तो सिर्फ शरीर दिख रहा है, मेरे विचार तो मुझे नहीं दिख रहे. मुझे तो छोड़ो, आपको भी नहीं दिखेंगे. आपके विचार मुझको नहीं दिखते, मगर है ना, they are there. I know them by myself, but you cannot know me. You cannot know my vichar. You cannot know how I think. Exactly the same way, this form that we worship, any idol worship, saguna form, we have worshipped them. There is a different principle behind it. In this context, I will not elaborate it. The principle is, it is the same, excuse me, that invisible source, which I can't recognize, is here. I impose it on that form. वो फॉर्म मेरे लिए अब उस paramatma, quote unquote, that nirgunam, that absolute creator, which I can't see but has to be there. How do I know? I'm repeating my logic. How do I know? I just need a little science to tell me, to go beyond science, to say, what is keeping the earth rotation? If it is one of the material principles, then who is operating that material principle? And if that is another material principle, तो उस material principle को कौन चला रहा है, कहाँ से आ रहा है? Anavastha. It will go into regress ad infinitum. You cannot find the source of it. That it is there because how many billion years has Earth already been said to have had an age? This we are saying as humans. What is creation? Our Puranas explain the whole hierarchy of creation in such depth that it astounds the mind to know how, how much knowledge there is even of creation. But why is that knowledge of creation given? To bring us to the Creator. उस क्रिएटर को आप कोई भी नाम दो, उसको पहले आप निर्गुण को आप सगुण में लाते हो ताकि it is more tangible, more acceptable. I can't straight away imagine the creator because my mind, my buddhi will get lost at the point that there is a creator which is ruling. Why should there be a creator? I will start questioning it. But if you just say, okay, that creator is Bhagwan, is Ishvara, I will stop the intellectual query and I'll accept it because that acceptance is a fact. My intellect will never understand it, it's beyond my intellect, but it is in my experience. How? Because that creator is the one who's sitting here and enlivening this life. The life principle in every form is the same creator. Seek that, serve that. उस पे अपना ध्यान रखो. That will save you at the end. Then, in the second verse, which we have to start today, I will chant once more. As much Shravanam, that much better. Moodha jahihi. Every word see. Moodha jahihi. Dhana agama trishnam. All of us who know Hindi, it'll be easy with the word, some meaning you can pick up. Moodha jahihi. Dhana agama trishnam. Kuru sadbuddhim manasi vitrishnam. Yat, yat is yallabhase, labhase. Yat labhase becomes yallabhase. Nij karma upatam, nij karmopatam. Vittam tena vinodaya chittam. Some basic gist you would have got. He says here again, Moodha. O Moodha. We have seen this, who's a Moodha. I will take the first verse. O Moodha, hey Moodha. In the second line, the word Kuru is again a verb formed from the same root that is mentioned before, dukri karane. Kri is what is left as a root, meaning karane. Shankara in the first verse said, don't keep on saying dukri karane. Instead, kuru, karo. Kya karo? What should you do? He says, Sat buddhi. सत बुद्धि में अपने आप को लगाओ. Means sat here means in a relative sense, in a casual sense, means higher values, good values. Sat buddhi means righteous thinking. Asato ma satkamaya. What is that? असत से सत की ओर हे भगवान लेके जाओ. May my buddhi, and it's actually prayer saying, may my buddhi go from asat to sat. What is asat? Jad. That I believe that this earth rotates by its own matter principle, jad buddhi. That I accept that behind this jad there is a chetan. Behind this jad sharir there is a chetan, there is an enlivener, there is an enlivening principle. Chetan hai ye. That is Sat Buddhi. Sat Buddhi means Sat in the literal sense is pure existence. Pure existence means unconditional existence. Means an existence which is not dependent on anything. That is your own nature ultimately. That is Brahman, that is Ishvara, that is the source of this whole creation. वो सत है. So what should you be doing? अपने बुद्धि को सत की ओर ले जाओ. अभी आप अपनी बुद्धि से क्या कर रहे हो? दुख नहीं करने. And as I repeated, I'll again have to bring my dhatu part, otherwise just going on memorizing the dhatu. You are using your faculties in only memorizing something. Whereas what is the meaning of dukh nahi karne? उस धातु को उपयोग करना पड़ता है. It's a verbal base. You use that verbal base to form words. So it is a usage, it's an application. So rather than memorizing it, see the meaning of the word. What is the meaning? Karna. Karna is the meaning. Dukrui karne means karo. Kuru, tum karo is the direct literal translation. You, it's the second person. You do. And it's in the form of a command. You do. Shankara in the Bhaj Govindam, as I said, is hammering. He's hammering. So his tone is not soft. His tone is not gentle. His tone is not, oh, why don't you? Please do. करोगे तो अच्छा है, तुम्हारे लिए अच्छा है, बालाहा. No, it's a strong affirmation because he's talking to that old man who has very little time left. There is a sense of urgency. That urgency, when there is someone benevolent who understands this with a sense of urgency, your stage of life and what you can do in that life, that is how Shankaracharya becomes a guru. Because he's pointing to him how you can now use your life. Instead of doing all this, Kuru, Bhaja Govindam, serve Govinda, employ your faculty in the inquiry of what is Sat and what is Asat. अपने मन में what is truth, what is false. Even if you say, uh, the earth rotates, today I'll stick to this example, the earth rotates. And science, you have a scientific mind, you figure out through the help of science, you are able to understand what are the principles that work, and what is the physical formula behind it. It rotates at a certain speed. Yes, understood. you know, Physically understood. I've understood why the earth rotates. Can you take this inquiry further, or should you end the inquiry that I've got my answer now? Earth rotates because of these factors. This is the speed of rotation, and this is what happens. अगर आप इतने पे इस इंक्वायरी को छोड़ देते हो, then what is it? Finished. प्रयोजन खत्म. But can you extend that inquiry? How can you extend the inquiry? Where will you extend the inquiry? Where can you extend that inquiry?
In trying to understand what is real and what is unreal.
So that the earth rotates in a particular speed. Am I to take that as a final answer? It's proved it's. So where should my inquiry go?
Who's rotating it?
Who's rotating it? Is that inherent within the material principle as a material cause? Or is there an intelligent cause behind it? Can you just have material creating a rhythm by itself? Or there is a conscious, I won't call it deliberate, but there is this enlivener. These words can be few used to convey that that is inquiry towards सत. कहाँ से आया ये रोटेशन? मैं कैसे एक्सपीरियंस करी हूँ? I'll tell you how you'll convert it finally, ultimately. Yes, Earth is rotating. When I sleep, do I have the knowledge that the Earth rotates? When I'm sleeping, do I have the knowledge that Earth is rotating?
No, Deepti ji.
I don't have that knowledge. Where did that knowledge go? When I woke up again, the knowledge surfaced. Some part of it भूल जाते हैं हम, disappears for good. But some part of it, okay, next day I remember some part of it. ये ज्ञान मेरा कहाँ गया? नींद में. मेरा मन अगर भटक गया कहीं और, तो वो ज्ञान कहाँ गया? Can this knowledge be taken as absolute then? Will it be eternal? क्या ये रहेगा? क्या ये मेरा आधार बन सकता है? ये ज्ञान क्या मुझे कुछ दे सकता है? Yes, right. Will it give me fulfillment? जो ज्ञान ही आधार नहीं है, जो रह जाता है, सिर्फ जागृत में रहता है उसका आधार, वो मेरा ज्ञान मेरी दूसरी अवस्था तक भी नहीं आता. इस ज्ञान में मुझे पूर्णता कैसे मिलेगी? मैं क्या चाहती हूं? सो ही सेज सतबुद्धि में मन लगाओ. मगर लगता क्यों नहीं है? जानते हैं लेकिन लगता क्यों नहीं है? Because he says, how are you supposed to further have this सद्बुद्धि में मन? मनसी वितृष्णाम. मन से तृष्णा को जाने दो. Give up तृष्णा from the mind. Trishna from the mind, when you give up, then you will be able to have inquiring mind, you will be peaceful, you will be shant, and also establish yourself in Sat. असत से मुख मुड़ जाएगा. मनसी वितृष्णाम, we'll take it later. So, what is it that we have to do for the mind to give up its trishna? He says, what are the kinds of trishna we have? Dhana agama trishna. Dhana agama, I, ana. धन और I. उसकी मेरे को एक thirst है, which in English is a good word, greed. Greed for wealth. That greed for wealth is dhan agama trishna. Why do I have greed for wealth? Because I feel my dependency on wealth to give me comfort and happiness. So we naturally are oriented to think more wealth will give me more happiness. But that's not true. So dhana agama trishna. More wealth should be there. Let me spend more time. The more work I do, the more wealth I'll have. That cycle that I keep myself engaged in, jahihi, give up. Give up this unsatiable need in you for acquisition. And Shastra uses the word dhan as a upalakshana, as a representative word. It will include everything that we chase. It can be power, it can be position, it can be, from the language of the Brihadaranyaka Upanishad, 3 Ashanas, Putra, Vitta, and Loka. Putra is children, Vitta is wealth, and Loka is Punya for my afterlife. I keep chasing these agama to amass them, to accumulate it. I want to accumulate wealth with an idea that this wealth will be useful, will give me certain happiness. It will give me comfort, it will give me happiness, but it will not satiate me. That is a difference. So Shastra is never saying do not earn. That's not the point. Earn, But do not spend your entire life only amassing wealth and anything like it, which keeps your mind occupied, your energy occupied, and your life is spent doing that. So, the first two lines I'm repeating: O moodha, O deluded. Take it as a refrain coming from the first verse, referring to that old man there who's busy spending his last moments in still acquiring things from the world. That grammar is representing acquiring things from the world. अभी भी उन्हीं में लगा हुआ है. To them is said, to him is said, give up this trishna, this, this absolute need for it, constant need for it. There is a very beautiful verse, another text like Bhaj Govindam. Bhaj Govindam is short and Shankarachatam, so it has a lot of viveka there. A similar text which helps in Vairagyam, Viveka based Vairagyam, and gives counterpoints to dilute our these kind of mudhatas, hammers them. He hammers, Vairagya Shatakam doesn't hammer in that sense, but it helps. And over there in one of the verses, he says, Trishna. What is Trishna? Chhodti kyun nahi hamari? Trishna word needs a lot of uh, grasp. It needs clarity. It needs to be understood. All of us would have some Trishna or the other till we have managed to bring it under our own supervision. किसी ना किसी चीज के पीछे हम भाग रहे होते हैं, ये सोच के कि उस चीज को मिलने के बाद मैं शांत हो जाऊंगी, उस चीज को मिलने के बाद मुझे कुछ और नहीं चाहिए, वो चीज मिल जाएगी तो दैट विल बी द एंड of all that I ever wanted. We even make promises to I will not ask for anything, I will not say anything, I will not complain after, and at that moment हमें लगता है वो मिल जाएगा तो that will be the final. But after a few months or years we realize that's not final either. It doesn't completely give me what I want, but Trishna is that. Now he says the verse there in Vairagya Shatakam, it's the 18th verse. Oh, I have the text here. Yeah, I did. Okay, can you see the text, Vairagya Shatakam? Yeah, you can. The 18th verse. He says here, Trishna हम क्यों नहीं छोड़ते? उसका ये एक काउंटर पॉइंट देंगे इस वर्स में. He says, अजानन दाहात्म्यम, अजानन ना जाना हुआ, नहीं जानते, दाहात्म्यम burning oneself, burning the body, patatu shalabha तीव्र दहने, patatu falls गिरता है, शलभः moth, तीव्र दहने, with तीव्र means fast, a moth moves towards a flame, not knowing that the flame that it's getting attracted to, towards which it is moving, is going to burn its body. The flame is, the moth is तीव्र, jaldi jaldi, बहुत तेज. In the language of the Gita, ya prakrit swabhav, so quickly you move towards it. There is no restraint, no control. It's an attraction. In this language, here in a simple, an attraction. There is a moth has an attraction for the flame. the light moves towards it. In Diwali time, we see this all the time. In the morning, you have a floor full of insects. You know, that moth, अजानन, उसकी अट्रैक्शन है, लेकिन वो जानता नहीं कि इस अट्रैक्शन में मेरा ही डिस्ट्रक्शन है. I'll be destroyed by this attraction. Moth doesn't know that. Saha meenaha api. In the same way, meenaha, fish, a fish also. Agyanat, due to agyan. Vadishyatum ashnatu pishitam. Vadishyatu, vadishyutam. Vadish means the hook, fish hook. Yeah? Yutam means jo juda hua hai. Pishitam, that small bait, that small piece of food that is stuck on the fish hook. Ajanat, not knowing. The fish moves towards it, attracted by the food, by the tongue. So moth is attracted by the sight. Fish is attracted by the tongue, taste. And what happens? Gets caught, destroyed. Now Bhartrahari says, the author of this Vairagya Shatakam, he says, Vijanantaha api. Ete ite vayam iha. Vayam means we all, हम सब. ये जानते हुए भी विजानंतः अपि, knowing also, vipat jala jatilan, that all this is the sense objects, the sense pleasures are grave, jatil. They are vipat, they are jal. Vipat means which is disadvantageous, you may call it. It'll be to my disadvantage. Jal means it'll trap me. Jatilan, complex. हम जानते हैं कि ये जटिल है, विपत है और जाल है. क्या? कामान, these desires, these attractions. Kaman kya hai? What are my kamnas? What are my desires? We know that they are difficult to fulfill. We know that these desires are making us agitated. They are leaving us unhappy. They are leaving us unfulfilled. These desires are disturbing us. Knowing this, and that if I chase them, I get caught up in a cycle. Then I keep feeding the cycle. I get caught up with the karma and the phalam at a subtler level when you connect it to karma and phal. I'm getting caught up in this. Jante hue bhi. He says, na munchamaha. Na muncha. We. Munchamaha means we do not give up. Knowing that they are becoming a source of our bondage, we do not give up. Ahaha. Ahaha is a particle to say, oh my God. Just as Shankara used mudha, he says, ahaha, oh. But oh, how surprising is this? That knowing that our desires are binding us, we don't give up. And now comes the reason. Why are we finding it difficult to give up those desires that bind us? Chasing those things that are definitely a cause of our own bondage and disturbance? गहनो मोह महिमा. गहरा है ये. It is very deep, profound, unfathomable. What? The power of moha, delusion. The strength of, the force of moha is so powerful that it is difficult to fathom how strong that force is. So, exactly as a moth moves forcefully towards its object of attraction, even though human beings know what they can have sadbuddhi, कि ये मेरे लिए अच्छा नहीं है आगे चल के. A simple example of sadbuddhi in relative senses, if you know that exercising is good for you, that now there are so many studies that we all know how many hours a week also we should be exercising. फिर भी we have all kinds of equipments now. What are those step counters and ye and wo and heartbeat counters and पता नहीं क्या सब कुछ है. Why do we need all of that? जानते हुए भी कि it is good for us. Why do we not give up the laziness that prevents us from doing it? That force of moha, that is Trishna. So, what is the verse he said? He says, Dhanagama Trishna. We chase things, we chase relations, we chase objects, we chase bond, we chase, we are great chasers. भागते हैं हम with an idea that ये हमें कुछ मिलेगा यहाँ से. He says, instead of wasting your time in all these things, being greedy after all these out of your trishna, what should you be doing? Yallabhase. I'll take 5 minutes extra. Yallabhase, yat labhase, nija karma upatam, vittam, yat vittam labhase. Whatever wealth you gain, whatever dhan you gain, nija karma upatam, by your own whatever efforts you can put, what is needed for your own sharir yatra, whatever you have put now, and shastra drishti is that there are certain bhog that you will have despite anything in this life. आप वो पहले से कमा के आए हो. तो certain material comfort you are bound to have in this life. Nobody is left without anything. Some help will come that you have earned through your past actions. Yat labhase nij karma upatam. Putting a mediocre effort in this life, okay, and being content with whatever will come. Something is ordained in my life. जो मिलेगा हम उसी को क्या करेंगे? विनोदय चित्तम. We will be content with whatever we get by our own efforts, not run after them, not be ambitiously occupied in our time and effort only for them. No, in today's world, they are bringing these concepts of work, home balance. I think it's called work, home balance, work, and some
Work-life balance.
work and
Work-life balance.
Work-life balance, because it's got toppled. People have understood. Bhag ke, more work. They've realized the burnout came very fast at a very young age. So now we are reshaping, reorienting the model of life for the next generation. To some extent, they want a work life balance. Means I will not spend all my time after acquiring things. So here he says, "O fool, instead of spending your entire time and life acquiring these laukik vishay, which you are going to leave anyway. Even if you acquire, they'll be left over here with this body, they'll be burnt. If you are a Hindu, when your body is burnt to ashes, सब इसके साथ ही निकल गया. If you belong to any other community, anyway, the end is there. Nothing is going to go across. Therefore, now again the refrain, Bhaja Govindam, Bhaja Govindam. With every verse, Bhaj Govindam, Govindam, Bhaja Mudhamate. Samprapte Sannihite Kale. But the first two lines are more of a refrain. Therefore, serve Govinda, serve Govinda. Shift your outlook and attitude while you have life and time. At the last moment, it may be difficult to change them. There are a few more verses that they talk of, but so far, okay, this was clear? Ekdam clear?
Dhanagama Trishnam is chasing wealth or chasing any materialistic desire, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
yes. Not clear, Pooja ji? The verse is not clear? Anybody else to whom the verse is not clear?
So, Dipti, this Dhanagam Krishnam, she just said, कि chasing wealth. So it will be more like dependency on for that wealth.
Chasing with an idea of dependency. पीछे भागते रहना ना, सारा वक्त उसी के पीछे भागते रहो. Entertainment, he'll talk about that in the next verse. But here it is acquisition के पीछे भागते रहो. So if I have a home, then I'll want more. Okay, it's very clear. Okay. All right. If I have a home, अभी भी I want another home. अब भाग रहे हैं हम, फिर एक और घर बनाते हैं. अब पीछे किसी के लिए घर तो है नहीं. But now, if you want another home, then now again you're investing time and energy, etc. So a lot of things like that. Everything falls into place.
And Diptiji, Guru Sadbuddhim would be Karma Yoga?
हाँ. Starting with Karam Yoga and keeping your mind engaged on a higher purpose. So you start with Karam Yoga and come to contemplation. सत वस्तु में अपने मन को लगाओ और उस सत वस्तु में लगाने के लिए कर्म योग will give you the qualification for it. And Manasi Vitrishnam is now talking of the Vairagyam that sets in. तृष्णा जब छूट जाएगी मन से तो अब मन शांत होएगा. Clear?
We can connect this to our yesterday's class also. Prakriti gunas. We asked the question ki how we can change them.
Yes. The whole thing you will realize will keep falling. Shastra keeps giving us from one drishti to highlight one point. That's why we said Bhaj Govindam is a really starting book. Then comes Bhagavad Gita. So basic introduction दे देते हैं यहाँ पे. And it's nice to keep revisiting it because it reorients, the fundamental. What is the fundamental? Bhaj Govindam. ये तो भूलता नहीं है फिर.
It's in very layman's words.
हाँ. Very starting, very layman. Yeah, correct.
Moodmati, like you come moodmati. Why? What are you chasing?
Ha, correct, correct. What are you chasing? Huh? After some time. Okay. So, if no question, we will end the class here. Om Sarvesham Swastir Bhavatu Sarvesham Shantir Bhavatu Sarvesham Purnam Bhavatu Sarvesham Mangalam Bhavatu Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinah Sarve Santu Niramayaha Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu Ma Kaschit Dukha Bhag Bhavet Asato Ma Satgamaya Tamaso Ma Jyotirgamaya Mrityorma Amratam Gamaya Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. So, if you have to make it into a gist of the whole thing, if you were to summarize it,
Don't waste your time in things which are not required and which will not help you.
हाँ, भागो मत फालतू में उन चीज़ों के पीछे जो आपको अननेसेसरीली एंगेज कर रहा है और उसका कोई आपको ज़्यादा लाभ आगे मिलने नहीं वाला. सो बी वाइज इन नोइंग कार्य कारण किसका लाभ किस में है. That is what was also yesterday as we saw. The pramad में मूढ़ता नहीं होनी चाहिए. There also we saw
Don't
mood.
be greedy.
Don't be greedy. And therefore he added the counter value. Be content with whatever you get. Whatever you are getting, be content and put your purusharth in the right direction. Do not put your purusharth in a direction which will be futile at the end point. Okay? All right, then. Thank you, everyone.
Dhanyavad.
And yes, to all of you, yes, thank you for reminding me. Happy, 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 blessed, 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 a very auspicious day today. We have done the text of Adi Shankaracharya. It is a Vyas Purnima. A Vyas Purnima is celebrated, is a very auspicious day. I think if there's one day that we pick up as students of higher vision, higher drishti, उसका अगर हम सीख करते हैं कुछ जिंदगी में, तो आज का दिन, there are debates whether आज सच में गुरु पूर्णिमा है or it is another day, but then that is there with all our cultural things, so doesn't matter. It is supposed to be Vyas Jayanti, Veda Vyas Jayanti, and we, through him, what in modern time has become Teachers Day. What is a Teachers Day? Whose birthday we celebrate as a Teachers Day? Radha Krishnan ji, we celebrate as a Teachers Day. In our parampara, the Teachers Day was a Guru Purnima because a teacher at that time was a Guru. वो उसका quality वैसा होता था. That quality of what is required as a Guru, that, and Vyasa's contribution to this, to all mumukshus, is tremendous. And through Vyasa, we see the continuity, a live continuity of the Guru and the Shishya, teaching and the taught. Teaching and taught का जो continuity available है, which keeps the flow of knowledge available in every generation. So we offer our namaskar and obeisance and gratitude, and we express whatever we want to that day, just to say we have a bhagyam to have been in a culture where knowledge is sustained, and it's not easy to sustain this knowledge. And our culture is not dead. Why? Because we believe in education. Our culture is education based. And therefore, there's a whole parampara of it. And that is actually a Guru parampara, a Guru Shishya parampara. So we offer this from the Adi Guru, Shiva, Dakshinamurti, Narayan. Each sampradaya will have their own Adi Guru. From there to in between to now up to the last point. It's like Ganges has started from Gangotri, but if it's coming from my tap, if you're staying in Uttarakhand, it'll come in your tap. The source is, it's the same source, and that's a great glory. Even in the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna is going to glorify this. So we very, very, we it's like people celebrate Mother's Day, Father's Day. So in that sense, it's much more than Teacher's Day. And it's just an expression of our gratitude to this lineage and their tireless contribution that they must have done, a silent tireless, that we have literally available texts, their translations, their meanings. They must have gone through so much tapas to preserve the knowledge and hand it over through all the vyavharik difficulties they must have had also, etc. So we just take a moment of recognition for that. So thank you, everyone. Hari Om. Hope to see you next time.
Thank you, Dipti.
Thank you, Deepti.
Hari Om. God bless everyone. Hari Om.
Thank you, Deepti.
Thank you.
Recording has stopped.
Take care. Thank you, everyone. Hari Om.